for me, Get Home Safe is trying to create a space where betrayal is not an option. Because unfortunately, the world is going to do what it does regardless, and we can't control that. But the people around us who love us, the people who are there for us, and those who want to be able to help us, I feel like that's what the focus of the project is for me. So like this year we got clothing brands like Hug Your Friends we got coming up. You know, you had Juice last year. That was genius in terms of like coming up with a whole juice box, because so many people know me as Juice and people love that. And this year I think my focus is going to be on the weight of our words and how we empower ourselves. It's going to be like a really big focus for everything I got going on next year. Like the people I've met with, the designs I want to work on, the states and cities I want to take this to. And I mean, at the same time, still making sure that my team is comfortable in how we move and rested when we do things. Like, that's why I have no issue with doing shit like taking the month of November and December off. We worked hard. Like, between February all the way up to like October, we were tired. And a lot of people was like, hey man, when's another event coming up? And I'm like, you know, maybe soon, but right now I'm taking off December, November, and part of January, and we'll get started back up. And they're like, why? And it's like, you know, like people who give massages in terms of masseuses and shit like that, we had a mental fatigue from all the emotions that we had to deal with from different people and the events that we put together. And I really feel like that's what I'd have to be careful of when it comes to everything that we do.
Because there was a lot. It was we had the taco event, we had your birthday party on O Street, we had Gold Grill Fest. We've had so many events, and they were all different.
Yeah.
They weren't just all like, yeah, just show up at, you know, and let's talk about some shit. You know, they were all different, and we had to cater to how different each event was going to be.
Yeah.
And it was very exciting for people, because the Gold Grill joint, that was a couple hundred people. I don't know the exact number. Yeah, it was just so many. It was just so many people, and the energy out there. It was hot. But the energy for Gold Grill Fest was just such an incredible vibe, you know. And I was like, this really just started from just a quick idea, and you just pretty much just ran with it, you know. And it became such a crazy event or space for our city, because we, like I said earlier, we just don't talk. We don't talk about it enough. We really don't talk about it enough. Because I'm completely transparent with everything that I've gone through. Like I was diagnosed bipolar. I was a drug addict as a teenager up until about 21, 22. I was a huge pill head. So the whole mental health aspect of it is very important to me. You know, to also being a mental health professional, like all of this it's not something that, you know, is just a flash of a pan type of, you know, fad thing because mental health is hot, which it is. It's like, no, this is something that I consistently have dealt with, battled with, continue to battle with consistently, you know, as I deal with relationships with my family, relationships with, you know, other people that I care about, work, whatever the case may be. This is something, my mental health is something that I have to consider in pretty much every facet. And you know, and after you've experienced what you've experienced, I know that you can kind of relate to that.
Yeah. Especially with the struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, for someone like you who's gone through that, no one coaches us through that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, when I think in the last interview we did, I talked about like there's no life coach that we have that's like, hey, this is how you deal with a situation. When you have a trauma or anything else like that, this is what the world's gonna do. Like, once we're in a state of addiction to something to help us cope with the reality of what's going on, or we're in a state of becoming a recluse because life just sucks for us right now, we don't have mentors who are there because this is what's going on. We have loved ones who try, but it's like there's no handbook that's written for us. Like, even another aspect that I want to work on when it comes to mental health is the environment of the people around us as we're recovering. And the reason I say where is because I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety, which I was aware of after my loss a year and a half ago. But like the way that I've had to cope with that and the way professionals have told me to cope with it are two different ways.
Yeah.
And like my struggle right now is finding the right therapist for myself. The last therapist I reached out to, I didn't like the way they were structured. When I come into an office, I'm a person. And when I send people into the office in terms of telling them to get help, and whenever I get home safe events, they should be treated as people, not a number in a book, not, oh, I haven't seen your case, but now that you're here, let me read up on this to catch back up. And when I noticed the language that was used and the drugs that were trying to be prescribed to me, that I was like, look, every single time I've come in here, I told you guys that I'm here for a therapist. I'm not here to get diagnosed for drugs. I would like to talk through my problems. You guys are pushing things on me that I don't want. And my concern right now is like for those who can't speak for themselves. Because in a lot of cases when people are finally able to get help, especially within the Black community, the voice that they have isn't the standard voice that they started with when it comes to their struggles. So like, seeing people being taken advantage of, I feel personally for stuff like that. And for somebody like me who happened to be in the right space when I had these discussions with them, but still seeing these people trying to make these business decisions, I'm like, guys, I get it. It's a fucking business, but it's a business that deals with and is built around people. They're not numbers. This isn't the fucking military. They are people with families, with loved ones. And even people in the military, they have that. But as a civilian going there for that problem and you requesting something and you being pushed in a certain way, I'm just like, guys, putting us on a pill doesn't solve the problem. If someone says, hey, this is what I want and this is what I'm here for, that professional, in my eyes, they have a personal responsibility to push you in that direction that you're requesting. So at least like, even if like the suggestion of medicine comes after, we've at least put you on the right lane towards what you are here for that you requested.
And that's the key component, right? Because you, like, unlike most people, they don't know what they're going to get out of therapy going in. Like, you know, because people think, because it's hot to just be like, oh, I'm depressed, or, you know, to self-diagnose, to be like, I have a lot of things going on, I have anxiety. The first step of it all is to actually to go see somebody, not just to be like, oh, I'm depressed, and, you know, this is the things I have to deal with. No, because a lot of times, no, you're probably having a bad day, a bad week. But I wouldn't necessarily say that you're depressed unless you've gone to a professional. Yeah. But what I'm happy to hear is that, you know, you're aware in regards to, please don't give me a pill and you know, and think I'm just going to move on, and that's how I'm going to do things. Psychotherapy should be the number one of trying to fix whatever mental health demons that you have, rather than trying to give somebody a pill. But that's the issue, is that we live in such a capitalistic society that, you know, that people, they want to make their money, and how they make their money is, let me push this drugs on somebody that's just diagnosed as being depressed or having anxiety, and that's why we have a huge opioid crisis right now, with people, you know, want to pop pills and do heroin, and then people are dying left and right because it became an issue that doctors were just giving opioids to people for minor things like a toothache.
Yeah, and it's amazing that now the media is trying to structure hip hop as these things are being pushed because of the hip hop narrative. It's like, well, before the artists got on the mic, where did they get the drugs from? Who prescribed it to them?
Yeah.
Where they get it from? A big thing.
Yeah.
When did it become the forefront from us? Because I mean, if hip hop is a representation of like what's going on in their daily lives, it was put in their lives. We weren't popping pills across the board like that until it's prescribed. When we get it, even when it comes to pharmaceuticals on the streets, they don't make it in their backyards. They have to get it from the
companies. Have to have got it from somewhere.
From the back door of companies before it's sold in the streets.
For sure.
And it's like, you know, mentality-wise, it's like, well, if Future didn't get on the mic, I was like, no, I get that. Future did get on the mic and he said that. We're not denying that. But it's like, who put it in front of Future?
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
Where did it come from? Where did it come from?
And it's the power of media. Like, people don't give the power of PR and media enough credit for how it affects our daily lives and how we view things and see things. Because it's subliminal. Like, even a lot of the messages that I'm working on with a couple of shirts we have coming out this year, I want there to be positive subliminal messages. Because we have a shitload of negative subliminal messages, and it's like, after these messages are successful and the companies make their money, because it's really about the companies and the money that's made, where do we go from here? Because it's not like the companies are like funding other companies to help us after the messaging. It's like, nah, they're just trying to make the profit.
Yeah.
And it's so dangerous out here.
It's absolutely nuts because somebody's coming.